Okay, so a little introduction here. First of all, thanks, George. I am Christian Boyce, and what I do for a living is I teach people how to do better things with their Macs and with their iPhones. All right, so since 1991, full-time. Before we start, I want to say thanks to George and to Sheeta and Eckert for making this all happen, and also thanks to everybody else for coming. Couldn't do it without all of you. So now, 6 months ago, when I agreed to do this talk, the latest operating system was iOS 14, and I got my talk ready. And then, of course, 2 days ago, iOS 15 came out with a new Safari and ruined a perfectly good talk. But it's okay, we're ready. So today, you're going to get the iOS 15 Safari talk, and if you're still on 14, that's fine. 14 still works, and Apple's even still supporting it, so there's no reason to rush to 15. If you are wondering if you should rush to 15, I'd say don't rush. Wait for iOS 15.2 when they've had a couple of chances to iron out the wrinkles. And if I do cover something today that is iOS 15 only, I'll make sure you know. Okay. Now in our class today, I'm going to break it up into 3 main chunks. And first, I'm assuming that you know a little bit about Safari, that you've used it before. I'm not going to take you to the very, very basics. I'm going to try to get you to into the good stuff. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to talk about how to customize the way web pages look, because with an iPhone screen, it's very small. And if you can make things look bigger or make them look better and cleaner, it makes a better experience. So we'll learn about that. Then we're going to learn about the sharing button. Now, you probably already know about the sharing button, that you tap it and you share a link to a website, but you do a lot more than that. So we're going to learn about that too. And then finally, we're going to learn how to stay organized and how to find the web page that you were looking at an hour ago or a day ago, even if it was on one of your other devices. So if you were using your Mac and looking at a web page, and now you're away from your Mac and you want to look at it on your iPhone, the iPhone will, it knows what you've been doing on the Mac and it can show it to you. Okay, so we're going to start today. We're going to use, this is an iPhone SE using iOS 15. And so what I've done with this is I've made this as generic as I can make it. I've erased it and we're starting from scratch. Later on, we'll switch to another phone that is a little more set up, and you'll see how some of the sharing works between devices. So let's start with this, iOS 15. All right, so I'm going to start sharing this screen starting now. Okay, so iPhone, just takes me a minute to get this set up. You got to do it right. Okay, and now here I go. Okay, if it goes right, you should be looking at my iPhone screen.
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. If you want to make it bigger, if you look across the top of the screen, you're going to see a green stripe that says something like, "You are sharing Christian Boyce's iPhone." And next to that, there's something that says View Options. If you click on View Options, you can make things bigger, and you can make it fit to screen. Make it big so you can see it. Okay, and I'm going to attempt to annotate our discussion here so I can draw boxes around things, such as, here's our Safari icon, and I'm going to tap there now, and away we go. Okay, when you start Safari on iOS 15, this is what you get. You get this favorites page. And one of the first things you're going to notice is that, well, I'm going to guess that you all noticed down here at the bottom, what's this doing down here? we're used to having the address bar up at the top. Well, this turns out to be a really great thing. If you decide you want to move it, you can. If you tap in it, of course, I can put in any website I want. I'm going to go to MacRumors. Now you can, if you tap down here where there's these double A's, if I wanted to, I could show the address bar at the top. And if I did, it would be just like it used to be in iOS 14. It's nice that you can do it, but that's not the way I think you should do it. So I'm going to put it back. Now, iOS 14 people, and that includes mom, you don't have this choice because this is something that came new in 15. Okay, so look, here's, oh, by the way, if you do make this change and you say show it at the top, it's at the top and for every website, not just for this one. Okay, so it's not something you have to do over and over. So if that's what makes you comfortable, go right ahead. But we're going to leave it at the bottom because there's some good features that will come from that. Okay, so I went to MacRumors, and what I want to do with this website right now, this website is barely readable. I've got a title of it, and I've got ads all over the place. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to just show this one article. There's a whole lot of articles on this page. I'm just going to tap here to bring up just that one article. But even so, even with this only one article on the screen, I've got a Planet Hollywood ad up there, I got a Fitbit ad at the bottom, and it's and the text kind of disappears. Well, what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the text bigger. So if we use this button down here, whoops, I just lost something, just my mistake. I clicked the wrong place, sorry. All right, I'm back. If we click down here on these double A's, one of the things you can do is you can change the size of the text. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to tap down there and change the size of the text. So I'm going to tap on this bigger A to make the text bigger. Now this works in 14 and it works in 15. So this is not a new feature, but it's nice that you can do it. And so when you tap on this, you'll see the size that you've chosen. And you can go back down too with the little A's. 175% means it's 175% of the size that the website was trying to give you. So if I get up to 200%, it's twice as big as they wanted to make it. But it's up to you. You do what you want. All right. So let's show you how you can get back. Now you see the address bar has disappeared, but down here you do still see a little bit of it. So if I tap on it, it comes back, and now I can tap those little A's again. Now, if you want to go back to 100%, the shortcut is not to tap on the little A multiple times. The shortcut is to tap on the percent, and it just goes back to 100. Okay, so possibly making the text bigger on this page made it better. It did make it better. It's not gotten rid of the ads. It's still kind of a cluttered page. It's a mess, but making it bigger is good. So that's the first thing you should know, is that you can make things bigger. Another thing you should know is that you can turn things sideways. If you here's my phone, and if I turn it sideways, everything wraps around, and the text really is bigger. I mean, of course, on your screen, the text is really big because my screen blew up, but it's bigger. So this is a sort of a instant way to make things bigger, is just to rotate it. So I'm gonna rotate it back so it looks like an iPhone. I can hold it better, but that's something to know. Okay, what else can we do though? I want to make this website even better. And the way we do that is going back to our little address bar. I'm going to tap down here at the bottom again. And then I'm going to tap on our little A's again, right here. And now I'm going to say show reader view right here. Okay. So let's see what happens when I do show reader view. Well, on this page, there is no reader view, so I can't do it. So that's a terrible thing. Let me try another one. That should have worked. Let's see, I'm on one page here. Yes. We tap down here. Yes, they don't have a reader view. We'll go to someone else's web page who has reader view. The idea with reader view is they have to be able to find the article on the page. And in this case, the article is, it's so messy that they couldn't figure out where the article was. All right, so we'll go to my website. Okay, so there's me. And I'm going to go read a blog post here. So we'll go to my menu and I'll go to blog. And I'm going to read this first article about putting the NFL primetime schedule on your iPhone. Okay, so here's this article, and there's, it's not too cluttered, not too bad, but we can make it even better. We can get rid of this ad up here at the top from China. This ad right here up at the top. So what we do is we go to the address bar down at the bottom. We tap where there's the two little A's. And when we do these two little A's, we see something that says show reader view. When I do the reader view, it cleans up the page. Okay, so this is really nice. It's super clean. There's no ads, there's no mess, there's no muss, no fuss. It's just nice. So the reader view is one of the most important things about today's class. You want to know about the reader view. So on a good little website where reader view is available, it will say, it'll tell you that the reader view is available when you first come onto the page. You'll see it in the address bar. And you want to learn how to use this. So within the reader view, if I tap these double A's now, and you see my double A's have changed, right? They don't look like they used to. It's a black field with white letters. When you touch it, you can do some interesting things here. So we can make, for example, I can make the background a different color. I like it this tan color, but you can also make it gray like this. And you can also pick a different font. So I'll pick, instead of Georgia, I'll pick the San Francisco font. And so when you're done with this, just tap anywhere. So now I've made this website look like this, which is a nice way to read things. So it's all up to you. You do it the way you want. You can even change the font size. If I go down to the bottom one more time, we'll tap on the address at the bottom. We'll tap on those double A's again, and you'll see that we also have a size section here. So let's do that. I'll make this a little bit bigger yet. And that's pretty darn nice. So I think you're going to like the reader view. Now, when you want to get out of reader view, you tap it one more time and you say hide reader view. And that's it. But you can see it's right away. As soon as I did that, we got an ad up here that we didn't have in reader view. And so it just takes up room. And so I'd rather use reader view most of the time. Okay, so let's look at something else you can do when you tap those little double A's.
Can I ask you a quick question from one
Sure.
of our, Melissa, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Well, I like reader view, and I was just wondering if it strips away the cascading style sheet that's behind a web page. Is that how it does it so quickly?
Oh, I don't know how they do it. I'm just glad they do. Sorry about that.
I agree. Yes.
It sounds like I think you could be right. You could be right. And then they add their own cascading style sheet. That's CSS for you HTML jockeys.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you, Melissa.
It's not a great answer. I'm sorry about that. But it works. So let's look at something else we can do with those double A's down there. I'm going to tap those double A's again. And just to remind you, if you're on iOS 14, those double A's are up at the top, but they're the same double A's. I can go to website settings here. And this is really interesting because here I can say that when I'm on this web page or on this website, I can use the reader mode automatically. Well, that's pretty cool. So if we turn this on here like this, then, and I'll tap done now. Now what happens is if I go to another part of this web page, if I go to a link to go to another one of my pages, I'm trying to find one here. Well, scratch that. I've got to get out of reader mode temporarily to see the navigation. That's something that happens. But we'll go to another article here. I'm going to go back to the menu, back to this blog, and we're going to find, here's an article. I'll read this one, but right away it switches to reader mode. You see that? So it keeps trying to put it in reader mode, which is great. So when you have a website that's a little messy, if you tell it that you always want to do reader mode, then that's what it's going to do. So you can only do it when you're not in reader mode. You got to go up here to website settings like this. Show you another one that's similar. I'm gonna look at the LA Times site. Okay, they see it up here. So this site, I'm also going to make automatically go to reader mode, because if I don't, I'm going to be loaded with ads. So what I'll do is down here, I'll say, look, use website settings, use reader automatically. Okay. Now on this first page, they can't do it because there's too many articles. These are all kind of headlines of articles. So I'm going to tap one of these articles and you'll see it'll go straight to reader mode just like that. Okay, simple. Okay, now, as you've seen, reader mode doesn't work everywhere, but they do the best they can. When they can do it, it's fantastic. It's magic. So, you know, this is what happens when I don't like to give talks where I'm using slides like Keynote. I like to do it live, which means that sometimes you fall off the wire, as we did here, but recovered. All right, I want to show you something else you can do. Let's go back. I'm gonna get out of reader mode, and I'm gonna go back to the Mac Rumors site. Now I can get back there. Down here at the bottom, I do have a back button. I can go back. So I'm going to go back. There's a bunch. It takes me a little ways to get there, but somewhere back here is where I started on this article. Whew. Okay, well, we're going to do something special that only works in iOS 15 in a minute. But while we're here, I want to show you that, gee, there's just too many ads. Like, there's almost no content worth reading here. You've got a big ad at the top, a little ad at the bottom. Yuck. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to block ads. So there are lots of ways to do it. Last time when we were talking about Safari on the Mac, we learned about Wiper. Well, we're going to go to Wiper again on the iPhone. So I'm going to go to the App Store and I'm going to search for Wiper. Okay, here we go. WIPR. And I hope I find it. Can't be that hard. There we are. Now, the reason we see a little cloud icon like this is because I've bought it before, and so they're just waiting for me to download it onto this device. You will have to pay a little something for it. It's not much, but anyway, you want it. So I'm gonna tap that. We're gonna get it, and things work a little bit differently here than they would work on the Mac. You probably saw I had to tap right here. I tapped where it says open because I want to open Wiper and see what I need to do to make it work. So I tap open, And I just follow the directions here. So we're going to tap the button to get rid of ads. I can do that. Big button in the middle. So the block list is the list of things that that Wiper knows how to block. And if you take a quick look here, if I look at automatic refresh, it's updating itself all the time. So it's going to keep working and keep working. And the one thing you have to know is it only works when it's running. So if you're one of those guys that likes to do this and swipe up and get rid of everything, you know, swipe, well, don't swipe up on this one because it's not going to work if it's not running. You don't have to look at it, but it's got to be running. So now I'm going to go to this Mac Rumors website and look, the ad's gone, right? No ad up here, no ad down here. That's nice. So Wiper's doing the job. And you see the page is redrawn, nice and clean. So, you know, ads are sort of a mixed bag. Let's face it, ads make a lot of the web work. I mean, Mac Rumors gets paid for those ads. I get paid for ads on my site, and they pay the bills.
Christian?
And so you get it for free. Yes, question.
Yeah, do you have any battery issues with Wiper running in the background all the time?
Ooh, not yet. I haven't noticed it yet. That's a really good question. You can always tell how much battery a device is giving to different app in the settings. If you go to the settings app and you look in battery, you'll see if it's using up a lot or not. Okay, let's see here. Now, yes.
Can you take a question from Carl Sekris?
Sure.
I pronounce that okay. Carl?
I was just wondering if the new private relay in iOS 15 and iCloud Plus, will that eventually remove the need for things like Wiper and render VPNs obsolete?
I don't think it's going to wipe out the ads, but the VPN stuff, yeah, I think it's going to make, it isn't a VPN, but it's sort of security done the right way. Security shouldn't be a problem for the user. Security should be done in the network. So we should, you know, we in the industry should fix this problem. You shouldn't be worrying about VPNs and virus blockers and stuff like that. That's our job. So someday it's going to be like that. I think the private relay in iOS 15 is a step in the right direction. Okay, now
Thank you.
let me show you. You're welcome. Let's say for some reason you go to a website and you've got Wiper going and the website won't work. It pops up and says you're using an ad blocker. Turn it off. Well, okay, we can do that. You know, if we have to, we'll do it. We'll again do our little friend, the AA menu. We'll tap there, and you can see right in front of us here, turn off content blockers. It's right there. Okay, so I could say for this website, the content blocker in this case is Wiper. It's blocking the ad content, but I can say turn it off, and here comes the page getting loaded again, and here it is with ads again. So, you know, if you have to, you have to. And if you like ads, you can do that too. If you really, really like ads, you can go to the settings and you can scroll here to the Safari settings. And you can go down here to content blockers down here, right about here. And we can, if you wanted to, you could say, what we want to do is say, use content blockers on all websites. And we'll turn it off when we have to. But if you didn't want to, you could flip this switch and go the other way. Okay, so now let's look at let's go back to looking at adding pages here to Safari. So a lot of times what people do is they have one page open and they keep changing the website that they're on by going here and typing in a new address. That's fine. That's what we've done so far. But sometimes you're going to want to have more than one page open. And this is just like on your computer. You're going to have more than one web page open at a time, but you might only want to have one window open with multiple tabs. And this is what we're going to do right now in iOS 15's Safari, because it introduces tabs. Previously, with this up at the top like this, there were no tabs. You always just kept typing into the same box. There's no notion of tabs. Well, now there are. So we're gonna put this back where it belongs, back at the bottom. And this time, instead of typing in a new address in the address bar at the bottom, I'm going to hit the tab button, which is right here. And when I do, we get a slightly different view than what we've seen before. And I get a plus. And this plus, I'm gonna tap this plus, and I'm gonna add another page. Now this page starts with this Safari's favorites page, and I'll just put in something else. So I'm gonna go to apple.com on this page. Okay, so you notice I don't finish typing here. If they've got it right, I can just hit go. If there's some choices up here that are different, I could have just tapped one of these two. If I want to do a Google search, I could just tap here, but I would have just hit the go button down at the bottom because it's close to where I was typing. So let's go. So now if I go back, if I hit this tab button at the bottom right again, I have two tabs. So it's really easy for me to switch between pages. If I want to go back to the Mac Rumors one, I can tap here. So that's what I'll do. I'll tap there and it just comes forward. So it's really quick and easy to do. I'm gonna add a third page, and then we'll start to see the magic of tabs really happen. So I'm gonna hit the button down here, the tab button again. Okay, and now I'm going to add a third page, and this case I'm going to add my page again. And see, they guessed. I don't have to type the whole thing because I see that they're going to type out christianboyce.com for me. So I'm just going to hit the go button again. So now what we have is we have 3 pages, okay, and three pages within sort of one group. So we'll look here at Christian Boyce, and I want you to notice something very small here, right here. There's a little piece of an address bar, it looks like, as if there's one off to the left. And so if I tap there, I can tap there and it'll go there. So let's see what happens when I tap there. It goes to this page. Now here I'm on the Apple site, and you see not only is there one on the left, but there's one on the right. You can probably guess that the one on the right goes back to where I just was. So let's try that. I'll tap it over there on the right. There's Christian Boyce. I'll tap the one on the left again, and I'll tap the one on the left again, and I'm back at Mac Rumors. Now you don't have to tap. You don't have to tap. What you can do is swipe. So here in this area, if I swipe from right to left, I will just push this over to the next tab. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. Now we're seeing some, some real efficiency. So let's say that these pages, let's say maybe there's one more Mac-related page I want to read today. I'm going to get the tab button again. I'm going to hit the plus again. And I'm going to go to Macintosh. It's a long time Mac website. So I've got to type this one in. They don't know. There it is, Macintosh. I say go. And so this is what we've got here is exactly like what you have on the Mac when you have one big window, and in it you have, in this case, 4 tabs. So I'm just going to swipe through these things, and you can see that this group is this is a nice group. And so within the page, if I go to, say, another page here, let's say I go to, I hit a link and I'm reading more stuff, and I'm still on Macintosh, but still I can swipe over here and go straight back to this site. So This is better than the back button. If we used the back button, like we did when we first started, we'd have to go back, all the way through all the changes I made on Macintosh and then get to the page I was on before. So the tab, the tab system is really, really quick and easy.
Christian,
Now, let's say, is there a question?
question and a comment. If you
Okay.
hold that back button, instead of just tap it, it gives you a listing of all of the websites that you visited, and you can quickly select those.
There it is. There it is. Yes.
All right.
You can do that too. It wouldn't have been Frank saying that, was it?
No, that was me.
Oh, very good, Sheila.
That has always been like that, and all of the OSs that I know for iOS. Mitch, you have a quick question.
It also works in Safari on the Mac.
Yes. All right. Mitch, you have a quick question?
Yes, I downloaded that Wipe app,
The Wiper.
Wiper app, and the first thing that popped up is it said, you know, go to Safari, go to settings, go to Safari, and go to contact blockers, and then enable Wiper 123. You
Right.
actually pulled that up, and the only button there is block all sites. There is no Wiper 123. And I
Yeah.
restarted the device and I can't get that to come up.
So you didn't find Wiper 123, or you didn't find block
I didn't
all?
find Wiper 123.
Yeah, that's
And when
interesting.
I mean,
Go
you
to
can,
extensions.
Okay,
go
so
to extensions.
Yes,
yeah, you
Okay,
find-
because
you
I just did
that's
the
not what
same
it
thing.
says.
You go here, go to Safari. I think the extensions are here. Right. Whoops, just missed. Just a minute. Sorry, I've got too many windows open here. Okay, so yeah, click. You'll tap here, and there's Wiper 123.
Okay, well, their instructions in their app are incorrect.
Okay, well, this is what you need to do, and it'll work. Once you get past the instructions, it'll work. You'll be happy.
Okay, great. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you, Mitch. Thank you, Peter. We got
Okay,
one more
so-
question.
so-
Can you take one more question?
Sure.
Jarrett, can you please? You've been waiting patiently for a while. Go ahead.
Okay, real quick. I'm playing along with my iPhone 8, which I've upgraded to 15, and it's really informative. But I've noticed the bottom address bar, when you rotate the phone to landscape, it pops up to the top of the screen a la the old way. And your tabs, as I've been following along, when you open the tabs, also become lined up on the top like the old way. And that's kind of neat and kind of interesting. That's all.
I agree. It's neat and interesting, and it's pretty handy too. So it only works, I think, if your screen is big enough to do it. So on my screen, this little iPhone SE, when I rotate it sideways, we don't see the tab bar up at the top. I still see it down here at the bottom. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a I think it has to do with how big the screen is. I'm gonna look here at the settings again for Safari. You will see in here somewhere. Yeah, I think it's because my phone is smaller than your phone, and I've got it zoomed so that I can see it better. But yes, so you may see tabs across the top. That's perfectly okay, but you wouldn't see it when the phone's vertical. You won't see it. Okay, let's do a couple more things. These are all good questions. I appreciate them. We're gonna do one more thing here. Let's go to. I'm gonna use my my tab here, and I'm gonna move over to this article. I'm going to christianboyce.com again, and I'm going to go to a blog post and see what I'm doing here is all within this one tab, right? So, so now that I've done this, I'm gonna get out of reader view just for a minute, and I'm gonna go to this article. Okay, now I'm on reader view And this is a nice article. Well, what are we gonna do with this article? Well, we talked about reading it with reader view where it's bigger, and we talked about making things bigger, and we talked about turning off the ads. But one more thing you can do is you can ask the phone to read it to you out loud. All right, so that's what we're gonna do. Sometimes you've got an article and you know you want to read it, you want to at least sort of ingest it, you want to consume it like as if you're listening to the radio. So we're going to do that now. And once again, I'm flying live. So let's see if I can make it work. So to make it work, you've got to turn on a feature that's called speak screen. So we're going to speak the screen. So here we go. To speak the screen, you go to settings. And now there's a million settings. I'm going to give you a bonus tip here today. How do you know where to go find speak screen? Well, I can search at the top here. We've got a search box. So I am going to search. I'm going to look for speak screen. Okay, so I start doing speak, and I could just scroll through here and see there's speak screen right here. Okay, so great. So now how do I get there? Well, if I wanted to do it by hand, I could go to the accessibility section and then go to spoken content. But why don't I just tap it and go there? So this works no matter which kind of setting you're looking for. Try doing a search. There are 1,000 settings, maybe more than 1,000. We're not gonna go through all of them. We're just gonna use search to get there. It takes me right here. So speak screen, when you get speak screen turned on, because they just turned it on for me here. No, I think I left it on. Here's how you do it. You swipe down with 2 fingers from the top of the screen. Now, if you want to, you can highlight the content as it reads it, kind of a follow the bouncing ball kind of thing. That's this here. So why don't we do a little bit of that? I usually have that turned off. I think it's a little distracting, but I'm going to do it so it'll be easier for you to see all the way to Germany. So I'm going to turn this on, and I'm just going to say, I'm going to have it do highlight the sentence that it's reading. Okay. All right, that's enough for me. So we're back to our article, and I want to have this be read out loud to me. So I'm going to take 2 fingers, these very 2. I'm going to put them up at the top, like not in the top right corner where you would be pulling down the control center, but sort of like right over the camera area. So here we go.
I've added the Thanksgiving Day games and the late season Saturday games separator. The 2021 NFL schedule is out, and it's super helpful to know who's playing and when, so you can make plans. It's even more useful to have that information displayed within the calendar apps on your iPhone and iPad and Mac, so you don't have to cross-reference some website with the rest of.
Okay, so that's me. That's me. That's my phone being read out loud. And when I pulled it down, you noticed this little thing popped up that says Safari in it. This is a popover thing that I can drag around. You can pretty much tell what it does. It collapses after a few seconds of you not touching it. So when it collapses, it also kind of fades out. So you got to tap it to bring it back. So I'll be tapping it a lot here because it's going to disappear again. Here we can change the speed with which it reads. So I can make this double fast, or half fast, or just regular fast. That's handy. You can I can collapse this thing myself. If I tap the arrow here, it collapses it if I'm in a hurry. If I just wait a little while, it'll collapse all on its own. And if I'm all done with Safari reading, I can hit the X in the upper right. Now I can also, when I'm playing it, when I'm reading it, I can hit the
Your work and social life, which most likely is stored in your calendar app. For me, it's S.
So I can tap here. This is a play pause button. So you don't need this every day, but if you get something that's sort of long and you think, well, I don't really need to read it, I'd rather hear it while I'm folding the socks or ironing or something, it'll read to you. It's just like a radio. So that's pretty neat. And actually, double bonus tip, that will work on just about anything on your iPhone. It has nothing to do with Safari. It's reading what's on the screen. Okay, so I'm going to put that away so we don't see it anymore. Just hit the X top right and it's gone. Okay, this is a good time to take a question or two if there are any about what we did so far.
Do we have any questions? If you can either put your question in chat or raise your hand.
Okay.
What I am getting is that is an awesome tip. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Can you enact that by just asking Siri to read your screen?
Oh, good grief. That's such a great question. I don't know the answer. That's try it. That's all I
Okay,
can do.
sorry. But
Okay, I'm gonna do a couple more things here with the tabs before we move too far forward. I'm gonna tap down here in our tab button again. And here we've seen this stuff before. Well, this is a good group of things. This is a good group of pages, and I want to be able to rotate through them sort of as a group, like you might do in a window in Safari on the Mac. You might have one window that's got some Mac articles in it. You might have another window with other tabs with maybe sports or something. So I'm going to tap down here where it says 4 tabs. They're showing me that we got 4 tabs open, right? Well, if I tap that, I can do things like, you can see I'm cheating here a little bit. I already had a Mac reading tab, but I can make a tab group out of these 4 tabs. So I'm gonna ask you to ignore this part. I left that there by mistake. So just look the other way. But I'm gonna make a tab group out of these 4 tabs. When I touch this, I get to name it. So I'm gonna call this NMUG Mac sites, all right? And so when I do this, now I really have some power, because now I can switch to that tab. So here I'm looking at those 4 pages, the NMUG Mac sites, but I can also go to this other tab group I made called sports. And here's these 2 pages I put in there. Okay, I can go to ESPN or I go to CBS Sports. If I hit this again, I can go back to my daily Mac reading, which is in kind of the same sort of pages, but you get the idea here that it makes it really quick for me to switch between groups of sites. So now just remember, these things are not permanent. A tab group is not permanent, same as tabs on your Mac aren't permanent. If you want permanence, you want bookmarks. So suppose I wanted to bookmark these 2 pages, I can tap here again, and if I tap where it says sports and I hold it, I can do a couple things. First of all, I can copy the links. If I copy the links, I can go paste them somewhere, like in an email to somebody. It's not what I wanted to do. What I really want to do is I want to see if I can do this. I'm going to tap and hold on this. See, I'm tapping on holding on one of the articles. It doesn't matter which one. And I can say add bookmarks for these 2 tabs right there. Okay. So there's a lot of neat things you can do with tabs. It's a brand new feature. It's been out for a day and a half. So I might even have something to learn too. But you can really do a lot with the tabs, and you should experiment with them. If you're on iOS 14 or 15, this is one of the reasons you're there, is to do this. I can close tabs, by the way. I can go down here where it says done. I think people are used to hitting these X's to close a tab. Perfectly doable. I can do that when you don't have too many. That's a good thing. If you want to close a bunch of them, it's easier, much easier, if you go down here and tap done and hold it. I can close all 3. Okay. Now I'm not going to, because I want to do one more thing. Is let's say you have a group like this, or I'm going to go actually to the group that we were making, the NMUG Mac sites. Suppose I want to add a tab to this group. I just hit the plus. I get to this let me remind you how we got here. We hit the tab button at the bottom right. Then I switched to the group I wanted to be in. In this case, I'm switching to NMUG Mac sites. And then I would hit the plus over here. So I'll add 9 to 5 Mac, another good site. So when I do this, when I look at the tabs again, now I've got 5 in there, right? And I can switch between them pretty easily just by tapping. So this is different than the way you did it in 14. And I hope if we have time, I'll show you some 14 stuff. But now what I want to do something really, really handy, and you're going to like this a lot. Let's say you like this blog of mine so much that you want to make it the world's easiest thing to get to. So how do we do this? Well, what we do is we don't make a bookmark of it. We add it to your home screen. So what we do is we use the share button. So now we're going to start seeing some of the magic of the share button right here. We're going to share it with our home screen is what we're going to do. So we're going to tap that share button. And this does work for your iOS 14 people too. So this is what you usually see when you go to share. You either put it into messages, you tap here, or you tap mail, you put it into mail. And 90% of the time, this is what we do. But there's a lot more to that share button. I mean, for starters, I can add a bookmark if you just look there. But there's more. You don't know where it is because you have to scroll up. Okay, if I scroll, now you see, wow, look at all this great stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do add to home screen. All right, so all this does is put a shortcut on the home screen, but it looks like an app. So it's really fun and easy to get to. So I'm going to touch this. They're going to ask me, what do you want to call it? And I'm just going to, I'll change the name here. I'm trying to type on my keyboard. All right, so you can change the name. And I'm just going to call this CB blog. How about that? Okay. The address is known. The address is shown right here. You don't mess with that, but the title you can change. And the reason you want a short title so it fits. This icon is magically chosen. You don't always get a picture of me. It's only if it's my site. You go to somebody else's site, you're gonna get something else. So now I tap done down at the bottom. If we look, now we see that just like the regular icons, now I've got an icon for the CB blog. So even if I wasn't on this page, let's say I went, I'll use my tabs and I'll swipe over here. So here I'm on Mac Rumors. If I want to get to my page at any time, I tap where it says CB blog right here, just like it's an app. And there it is. Okay, so I think it's handy to make little shortcuts to your favorite sites and put them on your home screen. That's the best. They're right out in the open. You can't miss them. Okay, so that, yes.
I have a question about when you're making these bookmarks. Will these bookmarks sync across devices, or is this too early of a question to ask?
That's the perfect question to ask. And the answer is yes, they will sync across devices. Bookmarks sync across devices. So the icon I put on the desktop isn't going to sync across devices, but bookmarks sync across devices. This is another real good reason to use Safari on your Mac and not Chrome or Firefox. I mean, Chrome and Firefox are fine, but they don't have any knowledge about what I'm doing in Safari on the phone. And we're going to want that. You'll see in a little while that this is going to really pay off. Okay, so now let's look at what else I can do with that share button down there at the bottom. I'm gonna look at the. Let me go back to my Macintosh page. Let me find my Macintosh here. I hit the tabs. I go to NMUG Mac site. So let's say I want to print this page. So I'm going to go to share it, but I'm not going to add it to my home screen. I'm not going to do anything like that, but I want to print it. And look, print's right here. It's right here. So this works as long as your phone is on Wi-Fi and as long as it's on the same network that your printer's on. So if your printer is wireless and your Mac's on Wi-Fi, it's probably going to work. Even if it's not, it can still work. You can email me. I'll tell you what else you might have to do. So I'm going to go to print. I'm going to tap where it says print, and we get some choices here. First of all, we can see down at the bottom little thumbnails of the pages. Now it might be that I only need to print the first page. So in that case, I can just uncheck the thumbnails for the other pages. Now I don't have to print them in order. If I want to do page 1 and page 3, you can see here, they know that's what I've asked to do. But in this case, I'm just going to say, let's just do page 1. So I've turned off 2 and 3. And I do want to print it up and down. So I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna tap where it says portrait, which it already is. This would be landscape over here, but we're gonna do portrait. You can see the thumbnails redraw. I'm gonna go, now I'm gonna pick a printer. So I can't print yet because here, no printer selected. The very first time you do this, you have to tap where it says no printer selected, and it's gonna go out and look and see which printers you have. Maybe you've got more than one printer, you'd have to pick it. Well, I'm gonna just take the one printer I have. Now it's gonna learn about the printer, and you get some choices here, such as, do we want to print in black and white, which is here? Do we want to choose the quality of the paper and that kind of thing? That's all doable, but I'm just going to take a nice plain 1-page print here. So I'm going to actually, I only want 1 copy. If I wanted more than 1 copy, I could change it here. So you can see there's a lot of options here. So now I'm going to simply click print in the top. And when I do this, I should get a piece of paper coming out of my printer. You might even hear it. Of course, I'm low on ink. That's nice. But there it goes, it's printing. And now if I do this again, let's say I go to some other web page here, or maybe some other, I'll go here. If I want to print this, I go to share again, I scroll down here again to print, and this time it already knows about my printer. So you wouldn't have to monkey around, you just hit print. Now, speaking of monkeying around, one of the things I don't like is that when we hit the share button, we don't see print, we see add bookmark, which is like the last thing I want to do, but printing is one of the first things I want to do. So we can change that. So what we do is we scroll up a little bit more and we see down at the bottom, edit actions. So these are known as actions, what we're doing. So I'm going to touch edit actions, and now I'm going to rearrange the order. Okay, I'm going to move print, which is way down here. I'm going to add it. I'm going to hit the plus to throw it up. See where it is right now? It's in this sort of other group down here. So I don't want it to be down here in this other group. I want it to be up in the top. So I'm going to add it with this plus. It flies up there. Now you can see where it is. It's right next to print. I can even move it ahead of copy. I can grab the little grabber on the right-hand side, these little bars right here. I'm going to grab this and pull this up like that. So now when I'm done and I come back to print a page, if I tap the share button, print's right up there, right in front of me, right near the top. So you can rearrange this. Now, I don't have, unfortunately, the time to tell you about everything you can do with the share button, but if you know how to use shortcuts, and shortcuts is on the Mac, everyone gets shortcuts. It's an app that Apple provides. Some shortcuts can operate on a web page and they would show up in this share button. So for example, you might have one, I have one on another iPhone that makes videos play twice as fast. So if I go to YouTube in Safari, not the YouTube app, but if I go to YouTube on the iPhone, I can then hit my plus and I can scroll down, and in this list, I have something that says speed up video, and it does. And so everything gets done twice as fast. Okay, now we're going to do a little bit more about tabs and bookmarks. This is paid part 3. We're heading for home. So, you know,
I'm sorry.
Sure.
Can you go back to print,
Sure.
please? Can you show how if you like pinch out on the preview, how you can get more options? Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I do now. Okay. I didn't know that before, but thanks, Sheeta. Never heard of that, but now we know. So, oh, and then I can save this page. Look, I can even save it.
Yes.
My goodness gracious.
I do this often when I want to save something to PDF.
Wow, that's smooth. Okay, so let's just recap here. So we saw what we wanted to print. We pinched. So down here, I'm going to do the out pinch. So I'm going to do this, and then the page sort of appears. And now we get another sharing button, but it doesn't have the same option. So I go here, and one of the options it has, which is so great, is save to files. And when I do save to files, I know it's going to be a PDF because they say so right here, PDF. Wow. Wow, that just changes everything. Well, that's nice, Sheeta. That is nice. Okay.
Okay.
Wow. Why don't we switch places?
No, we're working.
Right.
Hey, we make a great team.
You're telling me, but I think we could still switch places and still be a great team.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're going to switch to another phone because I want to show you what happens with sharing between your iPhone and your Mac. So I'm going to stop sharing that one. Again, hello. And now I'm going to share this other iPhone. Okay, so this is an iPhone that's signed into my Apple ID and has this is an iPhone 11 Pro. Okay, so sure hope this works. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to on my phone. I'm going to go to Safari, and on my Mac, I have a whole bunch of web pages that I've looked at lately, and I want to maybe pull one of those up on my phone now. So how do I do it? Well, first thing I've got to do is I've got to be on this blank start page that Apple makes for you. Okay, this is that start page that shows some of your favorites. It shows you also in iOS 15 links that have been shared with you, web page links that have been shared with you through messages. And so here you can see that mom sent me a link to something about this bird here. My friend Jeff sent me something about the Muhammad Ali special, the Ken Burns thing, and so on. So that's kind of nice that you see that. So it's all right in one place, but that's not the main event here. So the main event is that I can find, whoops, I made a mistake. Sorry, I got to clean up my Mac here. Okay, the main event is that if I scroll a little bit, I can see things that are on my other devices. So if I look here, this is the magic part right next to the well, darn it, I'm trying to draw a box. Here we go. Give me a box. There, finally, right here. So I'm going to tap there, and it's going to show me my devices that are signed into this Apple ID. So typical person is going to have a Mac and an iPhone, or maybe a Mac and an iPad and an iPhone. Anyway, they're all going to be listed here. So these are open tabs that you have. So I'm going to tap on the Mac Pro, and I'm going to see that I was reading about how to file a claim with FedEx because I got a lost package. So what I can do then is is I can just tap there, right down here, file a claim. So I'm gonna tap down here, and it's gonna bring onto my phone the page I was looking at on my Mac. Okay, so in my experience, most of the time I do this the other direction, that I'm looking at it on the phone, and then I realize it's too small for me to see, and I'd rather see it on the Mac. So it works in both directions. This is another reason why we use Safari everywhere that we can, because it keeps us all connected. If you're not sure that it's connected, if it's not working for you, let me show you where you look. You look in settings, and you scroll down in settings on your phone, and you want to look at the Safari settings, and you want to make sure that a whole bunch of things are turned on, like well, let's just say it's perfect unless you turn it off. Let's put it that way. Also, on your Mac, you have to go into System Preferences and go to iCloud there, and you want to make sure that Safari is just switched on. On the Mac, you don't have so many options there, but anyway, that's what you want to do. So Safari will stay in sync because of iCloud doing its magic. So you want that. Okay, now I'm just gonna do a quick bit of switching around in tabs. I got my tab groups here. I can take these 7 tabs that I've been looking at, and I can add them and make them into a group. Boom, I've got a group. I'll just call this my group. Remember, these are not permanent, but there it is. I can now, there's a whole bunch of touching and holding to make things happen. So like when I'm here, if I just tap the tab button, it just happens like that. That's great. I'm going to say done. If I tap and hold it, I get all of these options. Okay, I can close all the tabs. I can close this tab. I can open up a start page. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can do. So you're going to have to play around a little bit, but touching and holding is great. So now I'm going to show you, if I was here, if I touch where it says my group, I see the other groups. But if I touch and I hold, I get different options a little closer to my finger. And if I touch and hold a page, I get these other options like we saw before, where I could actually add bookmarks for all 6 tabs if I wanted. And I would have them, of course, then if they're bookmarks, they'd show up on my Mac as well. Okay, so this pretty much wraps it up. I think I've covered it. We've been just over 45 minutes. I'll take questions, and I think I might even have some odds and ends here.
Okay, let's put a
I'm gonna
question in there.
do one little odds and ends things here for you, and then we'll take the questions. If you look into settings,
Okay,
and you look at Safari, you can tell it about the size you want text to be no matter what. So I can say here, this is showing me, as it says across the top, page zoom on all websites. If I leave it at 100%, that means I'm going to get the size that the website creator intended. But if I just say, look, I don't want to wear my glasses every time I use my iPhone, I'm just going to make everything be 125%. That's just solved it. That's just across the board. Now remember, I showed you that you could do it on a website by website basis, but hey, if this is what you want, let's just have it right here. Okay, now I'll take questions. Thank you.
all right, thank you for that. Alan Weinstein, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Christian, that was a great presentation. So you've convinced me to be using Safari instead of Firefox, but I have a lot of contacts in Firefox. Can I just import those contacts from Firefox into Safari, or do I have to put those contacts in one at a time?
I think you can import them. You're talking about your bookmarks, yes?
No, my contacts.
Contacts, so like people?
Yeah.
Huh.
I have a bunch of contacts can I move those contacts into Safari?
Well, I'm not sure because I'm not sure about the idea of contacts being in Firefox. I'm used to being, bookmarks or
Okay, well, what
websites
about
in
bookmarks? Can I import bookmarks into?
Yes, that you can do. I believe you can export them inside of Firefox, but you know what? You've got my email address. If you email me, I'll help you later on that because I think the answer is yes. I'm just not sure.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
All right, next question. Anyone? Are we out of questions? Here's your chance.
Okay, I'm going to show you one more thing then.
Okay,
If we don't have a
go
question,
ahead.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I have a question. Christian, where are all my passwords stored? How do I know what my password is for, say, I don't know, the Ryobi Power Tools website? Well, Christian, I'm glad you asked. I have that. What we do, we go to settings, and what do you know, in settings, if I go to passwords, and when you're using Safari and you fill out a form to sign into something, Safari is going to ask you, do you want to remember it? And the answer is usually yes. And so I'm going to look for one that I made a while back. I was hoping I could find it. Let's see. I'm going to try to find a password that I can afford to give away. The point is, I'll just tell you what the point is. If you were to tap any one of these, it would show you in plain old text, just out in the open. It would show you what the password is. And it's okay to do that because you may have noticed when I came into this box, when I tried to go to passwords, it put up a little Face ID thing. And if it can't do the Face ID, I just put my finger over it. So you can see I've got my thumb over it. They can't see me. That means that someone else can't pick up my phone and get the passwords. So, but if it's my face, I'm in. And if you've got an iPhone with a home button, it would be your fingerprint. But the point is, you can see all the accounts that you have logins for, and you can just tap on it, and you can see what the password is in case you need it for some reason. Most of the time, Safari is going to supply it automatically, but it's nice to know that you can go look them up yourself right there. Okay. Now
Titus Matthews, can you unmute yourself and ask your question, please?
Yes, thank you. I'm just curious if anybody can recommend a mechanism by which I can synchronize, at the very least, bookmarks, but ideally all activity between different types of browsers. Like there are times when I want to have both, say, Safari and Firefox open. It'd be nice if I could have everything synchronized. I'm just curious if anybody knows of either a service or an app or something like that that can synchronize between browsers. Thanks.
Okay, so I know there is something that does that. I can't remember what it's called, but there's it. Sheeta, you know this one, Frank?
I apologize. I didn't hear the question because I'm reading something in the chat.
We're trying to keep Firefox, Chrome, and Safari bookmarks in sync. And I think there's an app that does this, or it's a plugin that does it. I don't know if it's off the top of my head. I know there used to be one, and I used it a couple times. So
I only use Safari, so I couldn't tell you.
Bookmaster.
Bookmaster?
Yeah.
I used to use that thing years ago. That was an excellent program. But because of security reasons and so forth, I only use Safari. So I stopped using it. Gil, you have a question.
Yes, I do. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for a very interesting talk, Christian, as usual. I can't somehow arrange the apps on my screen of my iPhone 7 Plus in alphabetical order, and my brain works best in alphabetical order, I'm afraid. Is there any way to do it?
Wow. Manually is all I can think of. You want to have all the icons alphabetical, yes? Is that what you want, or was it your bookmarks you want alphabetical?
No, it's the icons actually.
I see dragging it around.
Yeah. That you're asking a lot for that.
Yes,
right?
if I may
Yes.
intervene here, I believe there is in general, in an iPhone settings general, all the way down, you can actually click on a button and it will put all your apps in an alphabetical order, with the exception of those that come with the iPhone originally.
Yeah.
Is that
Okay.
right?
Well,
Is that right? That's something.
Yeah.
That is something.
uh,
I'll try to show it to you here. Let's see if we can do it. So we'll
when
go.
when you do
general.
this, Mitch, when you do that, it used to be that it would eliminate all of your grouped ones in various circles.
That's true, yes. That's true. It does.
Yeah, so if you have like a banking thing where you have 8 banks in there, it'll eliminate that.
Okay.
Yeah, Eckert, where did you see that? Because I remember that it messed me up one time.
You see,
Yeah.
let me look it up quickly. You need to go into settings, and then general, and then you go all the way transfer or reset iPhone, I believe, and then let me see, reset,
Mhm.
and then you can say reset home screen layout.
No kidding. Let's do. So this makes me nervous.
Yes, it makes me nervous too.
Okay, so so I see we have some options here. Reset home screen layout, but as I think someone was mentioning, if you've got little folder groups where you've put apps together, I think it breaks those up. So
Yeah, it eliminates all the folders.
okay, well, make sure that's what you want. It may not be exactly what you want in the end,
Right.
but
Eliminate.
All right. Now, thank you.
Frank-
Our time is up, and we're going to hand this over. Christian, thank you so much. We're going to hand this over to George.
thank you all.
Can I ask Frank to make his one comment? I noticed he's been raising his hand for about a half hour.
No.
I can't. Okay.
No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. All right.
I have one suggestion.
You go ahead.
This is Roger Johnson. If you, on your iPhone, if you scroll all your windows over to the left and do a search in the top, everything will be listed in alphabetical order.
That does solve that problem, doesn't it? Yeah, because there they are. As soon as so, all you had to do was go from here to one more swipe, and as soon as you put your finger in that box, they're alphabetical.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Roger.
Forgot about that. Thanks, Roger.
Okay. All right. Our session is done. George, all yours.
All right. Thank you very much, Christian. That was one outstanding presentation. Would the members or the guests at the meeting, if you'd like to thank Christian, please unmute yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Christian.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Well done.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, Christian.
Thank you.
Okay,
Good job, Christian.
Thank you, Christian.
Thank you.
Thank you,
You're welcome.
Christian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was enough.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody, for coming. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Right on.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, great stuff.
That was excellent stuff. I'm going to have to watch the video again to pick up some stuff.
Yeah. All right. Couldn't do without you, Sheila. Just the best. The best.
You're welcome. It's great. Like I said, we make a great team. It's wonderful. Okay.
Yeah, I should have remembered what Roger pointed out. That was a really good tip to scroll over one more. I don't do that much, but because I typically find things by just pulling down and searching here. type a couple letters and go. But so I'm just not over here very much, but it does show them alphabetically, so that's a plus.
Okay, great. And thank you, Mitch, as well. All right, thank you, everyone. Please have a happy, safe day.